What's good? Welcome to First String Podcast. On today's episode of First String Podcast, we have CWall dropping past. We have our guy Chuck dropping past. CWall's going to cover, she's going to recap the Washington Commanders draft for us. Chuck is here to talk about the running of the roses. We got the Kentucky Derby coming up this Saturday. We're going to cover that. Hey, Sid, we're going fishing because somebody is eliminated from NBA playoffs contentions. 1, 2, 3 Cancun on them. The Washington Commanders have a site and a deal done with Washington, D.C. to return to the RFK site. We got all of that plus a lot more coming up. I know y'all ready. Let's go.
It's wartime, baby. This what you signed up for. This what we worked hard for. You for. Y'all the first string. Y'all gotta go set the tone now. Hey, let's go. Lace them up, it's the first string podcast show. Hey, let's go. They spitting facts on the first string podcast show. Hey, let's go. Let's go. Hey, let's go. Cause it's time for the first string podcast show. Hey, let's go. Lace them up, it's the first string podcast show. Hey, let's go. They spitting facts on the first string podcast show. Imagine talking sports, having fun with the fam. At a starting lineup, first string is what you have. An entertaining stream with the Pro Bowl cash. When the viewers chime in, they gon' answer what you ask. Representing for the Queens, yeah, we got Lady A. A super knowledgeable woman who can break down any play. Said from the South, so he read GA. The Falcons, the Bulldogs, the whole Peach State. Drunk Uncle Al, only way you can describe him. Every time he crack the mic, you know he gon' be wildin'. Last but not least, it's my man Toothpick. Commanders is a squad and he the captain of the ship. So if you feel the vibe, go ahead and tune in. Like, subscribe, recommend to a friend. Now for real, like, subscribe, and recommend this to a friend. Hey, let's go. Cause it's time for the first string podcast show.
Welcome back to First String Podcast. Please do not forget to like and subscribe to First String Podcast. Hit the bell to enable new content just like this. The most important part is that you tell a friend to tell a friend about First String Podcast because that's how we grow the show. All right, listen. I got to bring Sid in. I got to bring Al in. Let's say what's up to Sid and Al. Meanwhile, Lady A's backstage. She has her ears on. She's ready. Got a question for you two fellas right here.
What's up?
Hold on. Okay. Al, say it. What's good, man? How y'all doing?
Good evening.
What's up?
Good evening. All right, listen, got a question for you. Okay, it's been a hot question today. Lady A's backstage, she's listening. I just want to know. 100 men versus a gorilla, who's winning?
The 100 men, dude. The gorilla's not winning. I don't care what nobody says. The gorilla's not winning.
I'm gonna go with.
I mean, Al's over here thinking about it.
I have no clue, but I'm gonna go with Sid. Let's go with the 100 men, man.
You haven't seen the video? You haven't seen the video, Al?
I've been, man.
Okay. First of all, let's say this. The gorilla is oversized on the video in the first place. Let's just say that.
Is it AI? Or
Well, first off,
it's AI. It's like the
Let me
guys
ask
are probably like 5'10" and the gorilla's like 7 feet.
Okay,
well, let's ask the question for real. Who is going to be the first one of you two to go try to attack this gorilla barehanded?
Sid.
See?
Really?
Wow.
I got your back, Sid.
You literally threw Sid out to the wolves, or should I say the gorilla? Like,
I got your back, Sid. I'll be the first to call the paramedics or your family. I got you, Sid.
so you.
It sounds to me like Al believes that the gorilla gonna win.
I ain't in the mood to fight no gorilla, man. You know, like that's That's what it all boils down to,
He ain't
man.
in the mood. You should never be in the mood to fight a gorilla.
My sentiments exactly, Lady A. That's kind of where I was going with that.
Okay, understood.
It's pure numbers over adrenaline. I'm sorry. I mean, you're now if you're saying that they're standing in the middle, the gorilla's standing in the middle, and everybody's cowering back like, oh my goodness, what we're gonna do? Yeah, the gorilla's gonna win that. Yeah, without a doubt. But if he's standing in the middle of a bunch of men, it's like, okay, look, I need y'all to come in from the back. We're gonna lose some people, but we gotta hit him. We gotta hit him at the same time.
See, that's it right there.
Gotta be a strategy now.
Because once he's on the ground, it's different. Once he's on the ground,
and then we got it's strictly our hands, no sticks, no stones.
Yeah, no sticks, nothing. Just you and 99 others going at this gorilla.
Are these Cowboy fans or Commander fans? Cowboy fans for sure.
I was going to ask that question too. I was going to say they Georgia Bulldogs and William and Mary football players.
Man, you got two top of the line crop right there, man. That's then you got to definitely go with the 100.
Lady A put my money on the gorilla.
I tell you.
I mean,
hold on, because I see a notification.
I mean, I know we're gonna cover this later, but Sid, I got a question for Sid later in the show, man. I got to talk about these Atlanta Falcons, man, and their front office. But we're gonna talk about that later, man. I got a question for you, Sid. I put it in our private thread too, man. I don't know what's going on, man.
Well, before we go past the 100 gorillas, the 100 men, I'm gonna just say this: 100 men are gonna shoot the gorilla.
There it is.
No, they got no guns.
If they don't have no guns, if it's first of all, gorillas they're not small. Say it, they're not small. Gorillas are usually on average 6.5 feet. So if it's a 7-foot gorilla, I get it.
Especially with silverback.
So, but the gorilla ain't going down easy, and it kind of depends on the people. And real talk, I would never be in part of any group going after a gorilla. I'm going the other way. Just saying. That's why they said 100 men.
I just don't see that as
because I know better. But yeah, I'm good on that. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, John. I already know what the people gonna do. That's what they gonna do.
Number 100's out. He is out for real. Okay, let's get right to the business.
Yeah.
Please.
Let's get right to the business. Okay. Man, so we just came off a draft day weekend, but before we could even get out the gate really good, the Washington Commanders with Josh Harris, Roger Goodell, and Mayor Bowser announced that the District of Columbia and the Washington Commanders have agreed upon returning the team to the RFK site.
Correct.
You guys probably have already seen the pictures of what the stadium's going to look like. Here's my thing. I do believe they said it's supposed to be like a 67,000 seat stadium or something like that. Am I correct? Is my numbers?
I heard close to 90.
I was about to say, I think it's more than 60.
Yeah, I heard closer to 90.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a lot of people.
All right. Yeah, 90, so close to the 90. A lot of people, right? Somebody needs to help me with the math. I hope y'all got calculators ready. So let's say 80. Let's say 80,000 people, right?
Okay.
From what I'm understanding, the parking situation is going to be 8,000 parking spots.
8 to 12, I heard. I got 8 to 12,000 parks because there's going to be some parking garages there, which people are not very happy about because of the tailgating situation.
Right.
Right. But my math be saying, we say 80,000, we say 80,000, right? Mm-hmm. 80,000. Got it. Divided by 8,000. Yeah, we still a lot of parking spaces short.
But you have
is everything in the metro?
Well, a good
You
percentage,
don't have
a
to.
a good percentage will take the metro.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
But
but the thing is, what I'm understanding with that, because I actually, it's funny you say that. I actually was talking with a couple of friends of mine who are very familiar with this situation because they're with event parking, and
Hmm.
they were
Okay.
part of the parking situation going on there. From what I understand, that they were talking 8 to 12,000 parking spots and a parking garage. So the
Right.
8 to 12,000 parking spots were for tailgating and different things of uncovered parking, traditional parking like we've come to know. And then there's going to be a parking garage, and then of course the metro situation that comes directly to the RFK, and it's still up potentially of getting rid of, which is quote unquote not sure of, but if they're getting rid of the stadium, the armory or not.
Right.
Some people
That's
saying
fact.
it's going to stay. Some people saying it needs to go. So that's still, I think, in a TBD status. But
Right.
the park 8 to 12 is the number that's floating around of uncovered traditional parking spots.
Which is crazy.
Yeah, which is not a
yeah,
lot.
Is it
because you got to
the
think about it, right?
team, the media, and when I say the team, I mean the players, the coaching staff, any administrative, front office, all these people
Just
are
shoot.
part of those parking spaces.
And just the stadium, people who work there,
Yep.
facilities and logistics is going to be, and the actual broadcasting
Right.
situation. There's a
That's what I'm
lot of
saying.
Yeah,
people.
but those trucks usually go under the stadium, like those broadcast trucks and things like that.
Well, those
Um,
trucks, but the
But not
people
but
who
the
are
people who work.
broadcasting media personnel will where how they're part of that 8 to 12,000.
yeah, yeah. Well, I don't think that they pay for parking most of the time. Like they park
But
on
we're not talking
grass
about
and
pay. We're talking about the amount of spaces.
right. They don't get parking spots because those parking spots are paid for. They usually parking like on grass next to the stadium, things like that. Yeah. Uh huh. Yeah. Uh huh. Uh huh.
And
Yeah.
that's a big revenue booster to the actual facility,
That's why.
the parking
Yeah.
situation.
That's why the media doesn't pay for parking. That's why they don't get
Right. They
parking
don't
spots.
pay for parking,
They don't
but
get parking spots. They
Yeah,
don't.
it's going. I
They're
guess it's
usually
going to depend on
parking.
who own the parking. Is going to be owned like Jerry Jones own the parking? At the
well, that's
stadium.
what they own the parking now, at the stadium. So they're I believe they're trying to keep that same process, because if you want a parking space at the stadium right now, you have to buy it from the commanders, and you can resell, yeah, but there are other parking lots down the street that you can go to that are owned by other people.
Right.
But
Another.
I mean, it kind of sounds like, so I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the parking situation for the Nats, for the Defenders, for United. Like, they built up the area to the point where there is no parking.
Right.
And you have moments where there are multiple games going on at the same time. And if you see the distance between that stadium and
Yeah.
Audi Field,
Large.
it's crazy. It's a nightmare. And I've gone to games where it was both teams are playing at the same time, and there's no parking. This is in well, technically southeast, southwest, and it's a nightmare. It's absolutely ridiculous. And when Nat Stadium was first built, there was way more parking. Then they start building up all these condos and all kinds of stuff, and then they built Audi Field, and it was just like, oh, this is really bad. So I feel like that may be that's the way it looks now for DC, because even with Capital One Arena, that's a
Parking
nightmare.
is slim. Parking is
Parking
slim.
is a nightmare.
Parking
So
is slim.
if and it looks like that is how a sports fan in DC is going to have to live now.
I think that's part of the city life.
Yeah,
As you have, like, especially like in those New York, Boston areas,
yeah,
excuse me, you do lose the tailgate factor.
yep,
I think that's part of the reason why the Giants play East Rutherford, because it's not as congested. It's a city team, but it's on the outskirts of the city where there's more area designated for the actual sporting,
right.
parking, and facilities. But you all wanted the RFK site. You
Yeah,
pushed for
but
it.
But
Well,
you
some
also got to
people.
one of the things too that you got to remember is if you look at these new stadiums, there are things around them. Like even here in Texas, when you go down to Jerry's World, you got Dallas Live right there, right?
Yeah,
You
and
have
you
you got
much bigger
Texas Live.
area.
Yeah,
But
you
look at
got
the area.
bars on the
Yes,
opposite
Texas got
side.
land, DC don't.
yes.
Well, but that stuff was built after the stadium came, right?
But it was
Texas
Right.
already
Live
that was
came.
already the projections though, big
So
before that
here's the
stadium.
thing. You have to kind of look at it like this. When the Commanders, well, Redskins at the time, when they moved to Landover, the selling point was that you're going to have more room.
Right.
The selling point is that, hey, we'll have more room. You'll be able to tailgate. You'll be able to get that full football experience. And since 1999, that's what the fans have experienced.
Yeah,
And
because the
when
play on
you,
the field was terrible.
well, I'm talking about, the football experience as far as tailgating and things like that. Parking and traffic is a nightmare. We know this. This is for any event where you allow all these people to drive in. Now that it's going to be in the city, that is, you're taking away a factor for the fans. Um, and even in Dallas, they have more room to build and do what they wanted to do. DC, you don't have that. Look at what's around RFK.
And you have a river to deal with in RFK too, being in the constant portion too.
Right. And you have houses. You can't just, oh, I'm just gonna build this area up. People are living right there. Like
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
is not this not the same.
Well, listen. The thing is, we wanted to get back to RFK to that site. It looks like the stadium is going to be state of the art. It's going to be probably one of the best. You have Roger Goodell say, and there's going to be a translucent roof, which is a good thing because now we can get Final Fours, you can get WrestleMania, you can get a bigger events, Beyonce and
Well, I
Taylor
mean, she
Swift and
they come anyway, but those are nightmare. That's a whole nother conversation.
But
yeah.
They wanted this stadium. You got to get what you want. You got to give up something, and I don't think a lot of people put a lot of thought after they fell in love with more of the idea of bringing back the stadium to that site. But things have changed over the last 40 years since you've been there in regards to more cars, more people.
It ain't been 40 years.
I'm just talking about heyday of that stadium. 85.
I'm talking about they moved in 99. Okay.
What I'm saying is, but the heyday of that stadium was 1985 before any real wins was there. But
Here we go. Look at you.
I'm just stating. I mean, so you got me. You're taking my comments out of context.
Anyway, no, we taking it directly.
Since we're talking about comments, let's read a couple of these comments here.
Right.
Racer X says, "Bye bye Jack Cook Stadium, FedEx Field, and Northwest Stadium, all Raljon, Maryland." My man tried to change a whole stadium, like Raljon, Maryland. That's Landover, bro. John here says that the stadium will seat 65,000. Most people will take the Metro Plus. Some will park and use the shuttle. True. Dump Truck Don is in the building. He says the whole parking situation is idiotic. It's going to be a logistical nightmare. Yeah. And then we got John down here as well. He said down here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Saying, where's that at?
Come on, player.
ATL, I said.
ATL, bro.
Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which still owes me 2 slices of cheese from my cheeseburger order. We always park in the neighborhoods and walk to the tailgate area.
Hey, you're going to lose somewhere now. You're going to lose on the price. You're going to lose on the cheese. Which one you want?
But the best bang for the buck food for any professional sports franchise, definitely.
Right. City bringing it out there.
Best bang for the buck.
Yeah.
It says Racer X says got to be jealous of Philly. Their stadiums are next to each other. And Cuzzo's checking in. He's late. So Cuzzo, you just been fined. Lady A is going on another vacation. So
you said who going to Jamaica?
Huh?
I don't know.
Jamaica.
Oh, okay, because it ain't me.
What'd you say? You said Jamaica.
It ain't me. Al, is it you?
If you look, I'll whistle. Huh? It ain't me.
Where we going?
See?
But where?
Here comes
Listen,
say it.
um,
Where we going?
Did I miss? What I miss?
I said somebody going to Jamaica. It ain't me. He's talking about Lady A going on the trip.
listen. Here's my Jamaica right here. How about that?
Mhm.
Yeah,
I
all
want to
right.
go. I guess I didn't pre-plan early enough in time. My bad.
Yeah.
Jamaica punch, baby. Say it. You got your fishing rods.
Oh Lord.
You got your fishing rods. Say it.
Yeah.
Let's switch topics real quick.
Please.
We're gonna switch over to the
Little
NBA.
fishing head outside.
The Miami Heat.
Don't waste much time on this, please.
I mean, listen, I believe that they were packed and ready to go. 1, 2, 3, Cancun at the tip of the game.
Did
So,
you hear Bam's comment?
Yeah. He-
What did Bam say?
Bam said there's gonna be some wholesale changes around here coming next year. And the guy, Mr. Silverhair, because he's talking about Pat Riley, people are starting to call for him and Eric Spoelstra to move upstairs and bring in the change of regime. They're saying Pat Riley can't bring in the people like he used to no more in regards to, and when you can't get people to come to South Beach, that's a problem.
Yeah.
well, it looks like I do believe there's one person that plays for Milwaukee that may be looking for an exit.
He has not said that.
Maybe if he comes down to South Beach,
And who
now
is
we're
that?
talking something different now.
Ooh.
Pick who is
Yeah.
that?
Say his name.
Oh,
Bet
we
you won't
talking-
say his name.
Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh, yeah, I'm proud of him. Very good, man. Very good, man.
That's what I'm talking about. He was
You heard
ready
that.
for that one.
Eddie
I thought
Bonnie's
the same.
class is
He was
working.
ready for that one.
I heard the
I'll
pain.
tell you
when he
what.
said it.
Which I don't understand is I got it wrote out right here. I got it broken down. I got it broken down. See, I just had to look at it. Bam, here we go. Gotcha. Yeah, but if the Greek Freak is not really feeling Milwaukee too much anymore, South Beach would be a wonderful place for him to play. Could you imagine him and Bam?
You can't have it to. What
Tyler
you
Hero,
got to
you
give up something to get him. They ain't giving. They not just gonna sell Giannis for free. Pick.
He's a
No.
free agent. He's gonna be a free agent.
He's under contract.
Giannis.
Who was
No,
Giannis
Giannis
under
is a free agent. He's going to.
I thought Jan was a free agent. He was talking about Lee. You sure?
I think.
Yeah.
I think he
Yeah,
got
Giannis is a
it.
free agent.
Check
Go
that.
get on that
Check
research.
that just to make sure. I mean, I could be wrong. Just check that just to make sure. Let me go to my. Let me look at my NBA.
I'm checking my sources. Don't worry.
You checking your sources? Look, we all. I
He's
believe.
currently under contract until the end of the 2026-27 season.
Thank you, Lady A.
With a player
He's looking
option
for the
for
exit.
the following season. So he
He's looking
signed a
for the exit.
3-year contract extension in October of 2023.
Oh yeah,
She
he's
got that
stuck.
super fast computer over there. She got that super fast computer right now. I'm
I'm
on this
just
Walmart Wi-Fi. It's okay.
You want
It's all right.
prepaid?
Yeah, don't tell nobody
Aw.
though. Don't tell nobody right now. We gotta get that fiber optics. It used to crank. It used to crank real good.
It's all right,
my-
sunshine.
I think my neighbors tapping. I think my neighbors is tapping in. Speaking of the NBA now, let's get back to it. So we all know that the Miami Heat, they're in Cancun, and they were joined. Well, no, I think these people are gone fishing. I think they're out on the boats. By wait.
Is
Hold on,
Memphis
let me-
out yet? Memphis.
No, I think the only one is out right now.
No,
I thought the only one is out
Memphis
right now.
yeah,
Memphis and OKC didn't they play tonight?
the Miami Heat. No, tonight's Tuesday. No, we got tonight. We have
Oh, but
the
Boston.
Knicks on the verge of setting the Pistons out. Boston and the Pacers.
No, Boston and the
I'm
Magic.
sorry, the Magic. Yeah, the Magic, and then we got the Clippers and the Nuggets, which is a real chippy series
Yes,
right now.
the only team playing in LA right now.
Cuzzo acting up.
What-
Yeah, but I thought OKC swept them people. Yeah, I thought I wasn't crazy.
Cuzzo acting up.
They're calling me on the beach. Calling me on the cruise ships.
He said them people going on the cruise.
They had bags packed. They did not show up.
And last I checked, them cruises is cheap out of Miami.
Yes.
They are.
Okay.
That's why everybody
They
goes.
ain't gotta go far. I said.
Cruises
OKC
leave
did
every 30
sweep.
minutes.
OKC did sweep the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
So Ja Morant, those guys are out fishing right now. Ja
Yeah,
Morant's fishing. And I don't think he's playing fair. I think he's shooting at the fish.
Pick. Go
What?
to the corner. Go to the corner. Because what?
Man,
Which
shooting at
one?
fish.
All of them.
Just
Terrible.
fish in the barrel.
No, that is not. Mm-mm.
That's how Ja fishes.
Oh, John. That was so much shade.
Oh, but John's true. That's a true point, though.
But he being shady. We
It
know.
might
John.
be shady, but it's true. Y'all wasting your time watching the modern NBA where centers are afraid to play inside the paint. They play the 3-point line. That's inside the paint for them.
That's in the paint.
The 3-point line is inside the paint.
That's in the
Listen,
edge. He said that ain't the edge. That's in it. In the paint.
Steph Curry and Draymond Green and playoff Jimmy. This is a must-watch series, man. Between the Rockets, them young
Indiana just won.
Them young guns. Them young guns versus Steph, Draymond, the old guard. Those players. Come on, man. This is must watch. I can't stay up to watch it, but the first thing I do when I get up is I check on that series right there. Hey, what do y'all think about that series? Let's start with you, Al. Clippers, Nugget. I'm sorry, that Clippers, but
Golden State.
Yeah, Golden State, Houston.
I'm enjoying this. Series. I'm enjoying watching the old school styles. A very physical series. I think Golden State is showing what Draymond Green said early in the season, that they're in the championship talks. I thought the series has been hard fought. Either this series could be 3-1 either way, but I'm definitely enjoying it. Last night was a hell of a game. I enjoyed watching the game because I'm not sure what Houston did, what they did at halftime, but they didn't come out of the locker room how they went in the locker room. And that was the biggest turning point for that game yesterday. So they've gotten themselves into a hole, just like my Lakers. So I mean, good luck trying to get out of that. You got to win 3 straight. Just do or die. Every game is want to go home at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lady, go ahead.
I think that it is definitely must see TV. Not necessarily only because you have a lot of stars playing, or people might be waiting to see what Draymond's gonna do. Because he always good for TV. Not necessarily a team, but Jimmy. I mean, I feel like a lot of people still are team Jimmy. They want him to win.
Yep.
It's like he you see him on the court, he puts his all on the court. Well, during the playoffs, obviously, but this is his moment. And so a lot of people do kind of root for Jimmy. And then another person that kind of, made a good made for TV moment was Aaron Gordon.
The dunk.
So you have these people that are making the game exciting. So it's definitely a must see. I really don't care who wins, in truth. I mean, I want to watch something that's good. I want to watch good basketball. I want to
next round for sure.
Yeah, and in truth, we're at a time where men's basketball is not really a favorite of a lot of people right now. And a lot of people are saying, "Oh, it's boring. We get to see the same people, and people aren't really putting their all." Jimmy, you can count on Jimmy to put his all into it.
Race X, that's got to be a fine.
Whoa. But I think they're actually to your point. I think they're recapturing some of the old souls.
Yeah.
With how they're calling these playoffs, because scoring is down. It ain't no more just everybody running around jacking threes.
Yeah.
The older style of play, we're seeing a lot of that. Not a whistle every 10 seconds like we saw in the regular season. And the players are having to adjust.
All right. Any other playoff series y'all want to talk about real quick before we move over to the NFL draft?
No, it's good to because I don't want to talk about the Lakers are pissing me off. So let's not.
Okay, say it. Go ahead and give that say it. Give that disclaimer that you give, please, about what I'm about to say.
The words being spoken by Toothpick does not reflect the First Ring Podcast in our.
Stressing me. He already stressing me out, y'all. What you about to say, Pat?
Dear NFL.
Oh God, here we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for what?
For colluding. Oh man.
Stop it.
I'm just going to say right now.
Stop it.
You guys have heard me say a couple of years that there are some people that just shouldn't go to the draft, right? And this time, this young man did not go to the draft. However, he was not treated fairly. There is no way on God's green earth that you draft other quarterbacks before Shedeur Sanders. And this was not about play on the field. This was not about what this was not.
Just let him talk. Let him cook, Al.
This was not about him being a menace off the field. He hasn't been arrested. There are no character issues. There's nothing bad that his teammates have said against him. But yet and still, you have other players flashing the dollar signs and give me the money, and you don't say nothing about them. Nothing about them. But Shedeur is a bad person. He's entitled. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? Hold on, Al. I'm still working.
I haven't said
Let him cook.
He just burned.
I do believe that there were a couple of quarterbacks drafted to Arizona who was just as rich as Shedeur Sanders. And everybody never questioned the fact of if he loved football or not. A year later, they drafted his replacement and shipped him out. Right now, that kid is not even in the NFL.
Okay.
Y'all know who I'm talking about. I'm not even going to say his name.
Oh,
Let him rest in peace.
Please do. Please do.
You know I'm talking about Rosen from UCLA.
You say let him rest in peace.
Say it, legendary. That's his name, man.
Rosen from UCLA.
Oh, I know. I'm talking about the other one you're really talking about. Legendary.
Listen, I'm just saying. The one thing that you guys do know about Shedeur Sanders is this. The kid competes. He gets on the field. He had a horrible offensive line in front of him. And most of the time when you get drafted high, you're going to have a horrible offensive line in front of you. And he stood in the pocket. He took hits. Yes, sometimes he held the ball a little longer than he need to. But guess what? He has to learn he's going to get better. Come on, man. What happened? 5th round pick, Shedeur to Cleveland, and you passed on him that many times? Shame on you, man. Shame on you.
Shame on him.
Okay. All right, you done, Pitt? You done?
I'm done.
You want him? You want him first, LDA? You want him first?
You can go first because I have quite a few things to say. Me and
I'm just saying, hold on, wait.
Forgot the things that me and Sid were talking about during the draft, the first round. But go ahead.
Look, one more thing.
Please.
I don't care. The prank calls from Say's boys in Atlanta.
That's something separate. That's something separate.
That's
Whoa.
I'm just saying. Right now,
I
don't care. I don't care. I told y'all, Shedeur got a fan in me for the rest of his life.
And we're all fans of Shedeur. What we're not fans of is how Shedeur approaches his next career, and how and the process it takes for everyone. Not
Everyone.
just Shedeur.
I get it. I'm with you.
What I'm gonna say to you is this: you're right, Pick. You see people throwing money signs up in the club, acting a fool, but very few of them are quarterbacks. It's different for a quarterback. It is. It's different. When you're the CEO of that particular franchise, and they're going to hand you the keys, they got to feel they can trust that you're going to handle those keys properly. Shedeur, to his own admittance, did not handle the pre-draft process the way he probably should have. Being unprepared. No, you said it. Being unprepared. Being very entitled, very arrogant, And in regards, hi, these guys are billionaires looking to hire you, and you want to make them feel small. That's not going to come off very well, Pick. It wasn't no collusion. What it was a guy who thought he was way more talented, and the team's showing you that your talent does not exceed your talent level where you think you are is not where we see you are. I don't care. The NFL has dealt with arrogance for a long time. Arrogant players aren't new to a NFL. But if your talent comes to a certain level, they'll put up with it. But if it doesn't, they'll show you what they feel about you. And
Al, let me ask you
teams.
Al, let me ask you this question.
4 rounds, how good his talent wasn't.
Let me ask you this question, Al.
Sure.
Let me ask you this question. Who is his father?
Dion.
Has he gone through this process before?
Absolutely. Did he handle it the same way? No.
No. Dion has led his son's career. He's had his hands on his son's career this entire time, right?
Uh-huh.
So do you think that Dion did not have him prepared?
No, I think Dion and the evidence is that both of his sons fired him as their agent after the draft process.
Which means that Dion,
I think he didn't help his sons.
He did not.
Wait. One thing you don't remember is Dion didn't go through the process.
Not the same way. It was different back then. Anyway. But
Dion, he's been through the process. The process will always change. The process will always change.
His process was not their process.
By telling teams that my son will not play for you, by calling teams saying that we will not play for you, did not, and this happened months before the draft. That did not help his son. Now, let me put this, I think I gave this, I don't know if I gave you this tidbit or not. I have firsthand knowledge of someone who saw Shador during this process at the facility and was asked directly by the offensive staff to do work on the board, and he stated no. And this is a team that had a top 10 pick. And his met other players during that process, during that visit, and star players went directly to the coaching staff and said, "Get him the hell out of this building."
Again,
by
his father was
star players. No, this Dion wasn't there.
No. But his father was his agent, and most of the time, Al, not most of the time, all of the time, when these players that are supposed to be first round picks sign with an agent, what's the first thing they do? They send them off to camp, right? They send them off to camp and they're doing board work, they're doing passing drills, they're doing footwork drills. And Dion's his agent, right? Dion has the careers of a ton of people in his hands right now at Colorado.
Yep.
Right? And he's leading these young men, and he's supposed to be leading them and preparing them to go to the NFL. These are your sons. And you said you're going to treat everybody like your son, and you didn't prepare them. So how are they supposed to know how to act if they're unprepared?
I'm going to shoot this one at you. What about his third son? Not Dion Jr., his adopted son, Travis. Travis didn't have these issues. Travis has been a third son. He's called him that. Or fourth son. Or whatever. Another son. Let's say another son. I don't want to get a number to it. He's called him his other son.
Right.
You notice how Travis, smartly, I might add, distanced himself.
Yes, I do notice
that whole Sanders hoopla.
Yep.
It did not affect him.
No.
And he turned down Shador's offer to be at that party, to have a draft party with
together. Yeah. So it's a lot to unpack with this, but I think that you guys do need to understand this. You got to kind of have to go back. Dion was a cocky athlete. He was able to operate a certain way. Because they allowed Dion to operate in that way, Dion felt like he was going to raise his sons to be able to operate in that same way as well. The problem is Dion did not realize that a lot of people did not like that he was able to operate in that way. There are still people that do not like Dion and the way he operates.
And you know this, Lady A, being cocky as a cornerback is definitely being cocky as a quarterback.
You're right. You're right.
They both are though, but it's a difference. It is a difference.
I'm going to say this though. There's a difference between confident and cocky.
Absolutely.
There's a difference between showing your skill and being a showboat. There's a difference. And unfortunately, Shador had to learn the hard way. Shador is everything that they say he is. He is cocky, he is arrogant, he is disrespectful. He does not put in the work that is needed to make it in this industry because it's not all about what you do on the field. I said that. We talked about this in the first round. Me and Sid had long discussions about the fact that he did not do well in his interviews. With that said, the NFL is going to pick who they want to pick, no matter
Oh,
what the
most
circumstances
definitely.
are. They will sweep some things under the rug to get the right guy on their team. You can murder somebody, you can beat them, you can rape people, you can be on drugs, and they will get you in if they want to. They
Talent.
don't want to. They did not want to. And it could be because of his arrogance. It could be because of his shade. It could be so many different reasons. But the thing is that unfortunately, Shador had to learn that in this world, you do not give them more reasons to dislike you. They may already have reasons to dislike you that you cannot control, but there are things that you can control. I do not, and you guys know, I do not agree with anybody being unprofessional. I think that the NFL needs to treat unprofessional athletes in the same way, in the same capacity. Do not make excuses for one and shun another. I have a problem with that. So, do I think that this behavior that Shador displayed was handled appropriately? Yes. But I also think that the NFL needs to keep that same energy everywhere they go. Anybody who shows that, that's what they need to do. You can't have Archie Manning do something, and when Dion openly says he gonna pull a Archie Manning, you looking at him sideways. No, no, no. Dion ain't come up with this on his own.
No, he
He's
didn't.
literally
This
trying
isn't
to
new.
pull the
This isn't
same
new.
thing somebody else did. But Dion did not understand that they allow Archie to do it and they won't allow you to for many reasons.
The talent level is different though. Yeah, that's a little bit. It's a different talent level with the quarterback.
At that point, we didn't know what Eli was doing. And I'm gonna keep it real. Eli, he may have 2 rings, but Eli also 3 times led the NFL in interceptions.
No, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. You won't give me no argument. I'm
Well,
not an
he got
Eli
passed
fan.
up his first
But
battle, but
I'm
that's
not a
Oh, he gonna
talent.
get in there. He gonna get in there because he's Archie's son.
I know, but
but
he
that's
should.
the
He
problem.
should. He shouldn't.
Hey,
It should
you
be
don't have no
above.
argument from me at that
But that's the
right there.
problem. What I'm saying is when you have you have these families, you have a family name on your back, right? And let's keep it real. The NFL said Shador was a top 5
Scouting,
projection.
scouting services did say that.
They said he was a top 5 and he went to the 5th round.
But
That's absolutely crazy when they have chosen people who weren't as good, who had a rap sheet.
But let me say this, Lady A, too. More so than any other position, if the quarterback is a mental game.
Right.
It's so despite you've seen quarterbacks, and I'm sure all you have seen quarterbacks with phenomenal physical attributes not be able to play a moment in the NFL.
Right.
And vice versa. Team players who weren't physically talented,
Right.
great careers in the NFL.
Well,
That's why it wasn't. And I'm gonna disagree one thing you said. I don't think Shador is a disrespectful person. He was disrespectful to the process for sure.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay, but I don't think.
Yeah,
he's
no.
but
In
he
general,
wasn't
no.
prepared for the process either. He was not prepared for the
Because
process.
Dion led him as if he were him, like do what I do. And that's not, you can't lead by example when in reality, the way Dion operates gets him enemies. See, Dion has already played. Okay. Dion already has his jacket.
Yes.
So Dion operating in a way that makes everybody angry now, he done already, earned his spot. Shador is trying to earn his spot. He cannot operate in the same way as his father.
But
so I do feel like his father did not properly prepare him.
But I'm gonna say something to you, brother. It's a tough situation because I think Dion is a phenomenal father. And I think and he has raised these children in the spotlight, off the spotlight, to be fabulous young men outside of this situation. We didn't hear any of this like this until this situation.
Well, I'm gonna keep it real. I'm gonna say something that I haven't seen a lot of people mention. Dion raises his children, and it from the outside looking in, he's doing an amazing job, right? But when I hear that you have a child that punched a security guard because they took your phone and you injured them, and then you go and you file for bankruptcy so that you can avoid paying them.
Yep.
That doesn't sound like that you have the right headspace to say that, oh, I care about other people and things like, yeah, you're young, you did that. I was young too.
But is that a father?
I didn't do
father issue, or is that simply a man issue? Individual.
You said
issue?
what?
Is that a father issue, or is that simply an individual?
What? No. What I'm saying is, when we're talking about the character of individuals, it's not necessarily a father issue unless Dion advised him to do just that. Okay. You see what I'm saying? Right. But at the end of the day, we can't act like that this is a squeaky clean situation, because it's not necessarily a squeaky clean situation.
That was Shiloh, not Shador.
Right. And even with Shiloh, he didn't even get drafted. Right. And I'm gonna point out that as soon as the draft was over, you signed with the team, and that means that team wanted you the whole time. So they could have drafted you, and it could have been a couple of
because of the free agent process.
Undrafted free agents. Most of the time, you getting calls from a bunch of teams, and you got to choose. You got to choose the best situation for yourself.
You want, right?
You got to choose where you're going to go, and I can honestly say he chose correctly, because Tampa's secondary is a hot mess.
Yeah,
that gives him the best shot to make the 53 or even to make the practice squad.
Right.
Sid, we haven't heard from you on this situation, man. Come on, get in here.
It's here.
Yeah, me and Lady did have a few conversations about this, because the early reports out was about Shador's interview process with some of the GMs, and that he rubbed some of the GMs the wrong way during the interview process. And yes, he should have been drafted earlier, legacy alone. We have seen quarterbacks, a la Carson Palmer, brother, who got drafted legacy, that was trash. Let's be real. He got drafted early, he was trash. But
what was he?
Palmer, he's a great quarterback.
I'm trying to say it low just in case he's listening. He was trash. Anyway, but I mean, it is what it is. Now the thing that I dislike is that some people were coming after his ability.
Yeah,
there were reports about his ability to do this, ability to do that, and we said, and we watched games where he threw balls on the run on the dime, where when he had time, he threw the ball accurately down the field, deep down the field,
with anticipation,
everything. Now that kind of miffed me a little bit about that, but part of it is, like you said, when you win in the game, or you run up to the guy and you flash your arm like this, you got a whatever the Rolex is you got on, but at the same time you file for bankruptcy, like they said, so you ain't got to pay a guy that y'all injured.
Yeah.
So it's a two-way street with this. I hate this happening to him, but in some ways he did it to himself.
Lady A, you told us that we got to protect a certain young man in the chat. Who was that, and why did you say we got to protect him?
I said that.
Yes.
Oh, was that the post?
Oh, you said it.
I did.
Yeah, you
got to protect.
It was posted. Okay.
Who did I say? I don't remember.
You said Shallow. You said we got to protect Shallow. You said
Shallow's hilarious. I didn't say that. That was the post.
The post said that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, listen, we're about to switch subjects now, okay? We told y'all we got the Run for the Roses coming up. So we reached out to Vegas.
Hold on.
Our guy.
Hold on. Oh, somebody's coming in. I'm sorry. Okay. Because I got to get back to Sid and all this prank calling going on down in Atlanta.
Oh, we're going to get there. His people is trying.
Oh, we're going to get there. Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Uh,
See, let Sid off look like that.
Sid, I need you to make a trip.
Chuck,
That
welcome
means
back, man. How you been?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing?
hey.
What's good? Listen, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, get your pens and papers ready because Chuck is about to break this down. We got the Kentucky Derby coming up on Saturday. So Chuck's going to give us a little bit of information right now about which horses to watch out for and where to spread a little something if you got it.
Trifecta, Chuck.
Right.
Come on, Chuck.
Hey, guys, how we doing? We here for the 151st running of the Kentucky Derby. Before we get to that though, I want to kind of go to Friday's races. I want to go to the Kentucky Oaks.
Right.
Okay.
So the Kentucky Oaks is the Friday's main race. There's all kinds of races on Friday and Saturday, but these are the two that most people bet on and the most watched, the most hyped.
Yes.
So this is a fillies race for all the girls. There's a lot of talent in this one. This is hard because there are, I believe, 14 choices in this one. And what I'm going to do, we can run through them if you want, but I can just break down my super trifecta bets and exotic bets and tell you who I think is going to be in the fold.
Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure my boys is on real quick. I got to make a quick text.
Get your pens.
A couple of folks to let them know. Yeah, get your stuff ready right now.
Wait, should I do my little disclaimer?
No,
yes, please.
You on your own, baby. You on your own.
Please,
no, for the bet.
Yes, please, and thank you. Yes.
Oh my God, hold on, Chuck. We gotta make sure that you know.
I'm trying to get my camera right. Like which camera? This camera?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right.
Hold on, let me take this banner down. Hold on.
All
right, guys. If you or someone you know is facing challenges with gambling, support is accessible. The National Council on Problem Gambling offers various resources such as FAQs, a self-assessment for gambling behavior, details on treatment, and a helpline to link you with local assistance. You can call 1-800-GAMBLER, that is 1-800-426-2537, or you can text 800-GAM. You can also visit them on the web at ncpgambling.org. Okay.
All right. Now I got my pen, got my paper. I alerted all my friends and told them we're giving out bets right now. Okay, let's go.
Hey, first of all, so funny story about that disclaimer there. I always love to see these disclaimers. They're, in my opinion, they're full of crap. But,
our disclaimer is needed.
So there was a guy not too long ago, one I believe just shy of $50,000. I think I may be wrong on the amount, but it was a major amount. And he wasn't able to collect the money. And when they did the investigations and found out why he wasn't able to collect the money, it was because he checked himself out of gambling through one of those hotlines to where he basically banned himself from winning and then went back to the system and won the money.
Oh, Lord.
So much for a gambling problem on that situation.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you just checked yourself right out of the bonus.
Yep.
Okay. All right, Chuck, let's go. Friday.
All right, let's go to the Kentucky Oaks Friday's race. 14 guys. I'm going to give you 4 that I like. I'm going to go with number 2, the second horse, Simply Joking. Comes out of Practical Joke. This horse just gets better and better with each race. She's going to be the best value as far as a horse that has the potential to win. For gamblers that's looking for some value bets, Simply Joking should be somewhere around 10-1 right now. Come race time, that might dwindle down to about 6 or 7, depending on how the money comes in. She has a 2-time winning jockey on her with Florent Giroux. He's won the Oaks 2 times. Like I said, she'll be the best value, and she just continues to get better with each race. So if you're betting on any horses to win, you can do a win play show on the number 2 horse. Or you can put her in some exotics, which I'll get to in a minute.
Okay.
So number 7, I also like. 7 is Lakara. She's daughter of 2000. I think it was 2007. I couldn't remember if it was 2007 or 2008. Come out of Street Sense, the great Street Sense, who won the Derby back on. I believe Calvin Burrell was the jockey back then. She also has wins at Churchill Downs where they will be racing. She's won there previously. And she's got a great bloodline. I mean, she comes out of street sense. She's got a sister that's a grade 1 stakes winner. The sister's mom is the great Bernardini. Like, I mean, this bloodline just doesn't get any better for Lucara. So I like 7 in another win place show bet as well. And we'll get to more exotics in a minute. Now, this one is real interesting. Number 9 is Tenma. Tenma is trained by none other than the great Bob Baffert, who is the Tom Brady of horse race.
Yeah, he is.
So most famous, this is real interesting because, you know, Bob Baffert is coming back from a 3-year suspension at Churchill Downs. This is actually his first time back. So a lot of people were thinking that, you know, Bob might throw the race. And I'm thinking Bob might throw the race as well, because I know if he wins these flat out, they're going to come with every drug test possible to make it seem like these horses were doped up, like that. What happened to the last one, Medina Spirit, who's actually now dead, I think.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Medina Spirit, his last horse that tested positive, is now dead. So about Tenma, though, you know, her dad, Nyquist, which I famously bet on in the 2016 Kentucky Derby to win, was a great horse. She's got great speed, but she'd never been this far. This is the furthest distance that she's ever ran. At 1 1/8 is a little bit too far for her. So the question is, how much endurance does this horse really have? So if you're going to bet her, I would like her to come in maybe 3rd or 4th place.
Okay.
So if you're going to bet Tenma, I would look at her to come in, the 9 horse to come in around 3rd or 4th. I would use show bets on her at best. We'll put her in some exotics in a minute. But for that one, I wouldn't do a win place there. I would just do a show bet on number 9.
Show bet on number 9.
All right. So number 11 is the favorite, Good Cheer. I mean, this horse has got it all. She's the favorite for a reason. She's 6 out of 6. She's started 6 races, won all 6, and she doesn't just win. Like, she smashes everybody.
What's her name again?
Good Cheer.
Good Cheer.
Yeah.
Cheer gonna get you good money.
Good Cheer. She's the best in the field, in my opinion. I don't believe she can be beaten. The one knock on her, though, is she's raced a lot of, you know, weak competition. A lot of people think that she's, you know, in boxing, when they say, oh, he ain't fought nobody yet.
Yeah.
She ain't raced nobody yet. A lot of people will argue that. But, I mean, she does have Brad Cox as a trainer. He's won the Oaks 2 times, looking for a 3rd. He's got Luis Saez, who is famous for Kentucky Derby Maximum Security, the one that got disqualified a couple years ago. That's her winning jockey there. So, I mean, despite that, she's got the most speed. She's got the best. She's never lost. It's hard to imagine her losing this. I don't care how great the field is. I like 11 to win. Win place. It's not going to pay much because she is the favorite. So, 14 horses, I like 2, 7, 9, 11.
That's a nice traffic. Nice superfecta.
9, 11.
Yeah, for your exacta box, I would do 11, 7, 2. Exacta box. You can do 3 horses on your exacta box. So I would do 11, 7, 2.
11, 7, 2.
Yeah, on your trifecta box, same way. I would do 11, 7, 2 tri box. And on your superfecta box, I would do 11, 9, 7, 2.
Okay.
And that is your Kentucky Oaks predictions.
All right.
All right. Now,
any dark horses out there?
Any dark horses. Anyone that's going to give up the real money. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, that's why I put 2 in there, because 2 is probably the best value pick.
Simply joking.
I don't know if it's necessarily a dark horse, so to speak, but I think that she would offer the most bang for the buck, which the highest probability of winning out of all of the, you know, high odds horses.
Okay. Is it Derby time?
It is Derby time. It's the most wonderful time of the year. All right, so, you know, this is the hardest race to bet, man. 20 horses. You know, the weather is going to be, you know, kind of chill. This is a little earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
So usually we get it around about the 8th or the 9th of the month. This year we got it in the 2nd, 3rd, something like that. So it's still a little early, going to be a little cooler, but it's not going to be any rain. So there's no rain on Saturday. There is some rain scheduled for Friday, but I believe it's during the early wee hours of the morning. So you don't have to worry about any horses like to run in the mud or looking for mudders and their bloodlines, looking for mudders and that kind of thing. But we do got 20 horses, so it depends on how we want to do this. We can break it down by trainers, we can break it down by trainers and jockeys, or we can break it down by horse status. All depends on how you want to break down the 20.
Let's go with the favorites.
All right, so the favorite is Journalism. Journalism sired out of Curlin. I think
we don't know their numbers yet, right?
Chance to win it. Go ahead. What you say?
We don't know their numbers yet, right? I think
the most positions are out. Journalism. Let me double check here. Journalism is number 8.
Okay.
Yeah. I think 8 is a good spot. I would rather see him in 10 or 5, but I think 8 is a good start. 8 is actually the second. I think it's the second or the third most winning Derby positions. If you just go by 1 through 20 positions.
Okay.
So the number 1 and number 2 are 10 and 5.
All right. So Journalism, parents, breed, bloodline.
Journalism 3-1 odds, man. Mike McCarthy is the jockey and trainer. Excuse me. He's got the most points he's got the most points from the leaderboard. He's a great horse. He won the Santa Anita Derby and beat a few other horses that are in this race already. So at 3-1, I mean, by the time this race gets going, with his morning line at 3-1, I say he probably ends up around about 9-5, if not 5-2 odds, because all of the money is going to follow the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, it's kind of like, okay, you can bet him if you want. He probably will win. But the value on this horse is kind of like, do we really want to do this like this? So that's the reason why I'm leaving Journalism off my bets. But, I mean, if you want to bet him, I have no issue with it. At most, I'll probably put a win place show on him just for insurance.
All right. Ron O'Neill saying, please break down the 14 horse.
That's tis-tastic.
Tis-tastic. Just out of Steve Asmussen, he's 20-1 morning line odds right quick. The problem with him, Tiz, I mean, I'm going to check and see who's Tiz's jockey. Rosario. Okay. Yeah, Rosario's a decent jockey. I just can't see, he's got 119 points. He does deserve to be there. So, I mean, if you want to put Tiz-tastics in your exotics, I can't see Tiz outrunning Journalism or some of the other more speedier horses in this race.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So we got 8. We know 14. Give us a couple more.
I guess we don't have time to run through all 20, but
let's run through. Let's go. We can
start.
All 20 aren't going to,
No.
You want to do the top one?
Let's go top 5.
I'm going to tell you the first one that probably will not win at all or cross within the first 4. And that's the 1 horse. Citizen Bull. This is one of Bob Baffert's guys, in which I totally believe he's going to throw this race on purpose. I don't think he'll win it, but I do think he'll have one to come around about second or third in this race. Okay. I don't think he'll win it, though.
Okay.
So Citizen Bull is his 1 horse that drew the opening 1 slot. And he's 20-1 odds now. I mean, he's been beaten a bunch of times. Despite the fact that Bob has another horse that's in this race, Citizen Bull is actually quicker than that horse. That one is Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, number 4.
Yeah, Rodriguez is number 4. I actually like Rodriguez in the exotics to do a little something there. But yeah, Citizen Bull, he's going to get smoked. Just because he's running the 1 horse, and it's just going to be really hard. Unless he breaks exceptionally well and darts out like a cannon, I can't see him winning, getting past the other horse. He's going to get boxed in at best. I look for Citizen Bull to be around about a 7th or 8th finish.
Okay. What about Sandman and Sovereignty?
Sandman is my favorite to win.
Okay.
What's his number?
Sandman should be around
17.
17. So with those outside ones with 20 horses, I mean, it's just so hard to get inside and out because you got so little space. Even though 20 horses it's just amazing to see 20 horses jockeying for, the spots and spacing to get close to the finish line. But I do have Sandman there. He won the Arkansas Derby. and he came out of nowhere and then ran him down at the end. So I like Sandman. We've had one guy from Arkansas with the Kentucky Derby. That's none other than American Pharaoh.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was I believe that was the last Arkansas Derby horse to win the Kentucky Derby, if I'm not mistaken. So I would love to see Sandman do it. And he's a great horse. Everybody loves a great horse to win. I typically reserve great horses for the Belmont Stakes, but I like Sandman. He can fly. I love it. I think he's going to do it. I got Sandman as in my exotics and my win place show. I like Sandman.
Do we have a potential Triple Crown winner in this?
No. And I'm going to break that down. And I don't think we're going to have a potential Triple Crown winner here. Just because the simple fact is this crop of 3-year-olds is really good. Now, we got a lot of competition. Now, whether these owners get, greedy and, pull out or push the horses to race in the other 2 Triple Crowns is still a hard thing to see, especially when you got 20 and you got to trim it down to 14 for the next race. So I don't believe we will have a Triple Crown winner unless somehow or another Sandman comes to do it, because I believe that Mr. Preakness is going to come back, and that's Uncle Bob Baffert. I think he's going to come back to Maryland ready to win, where everybody seems to love him. He's never been suspended in Maryland, despite all of the Kentucky Derby stuff. And I think the Maryland Jockey Club just loves him in Baltimore, and I can see Uncle Bob winning that one with Rodriguez.
All right, so your win place shows, your exotics, your trifectas.
Win place show. Let's go. Okay, so obviously we already got Sandman win place show. We got Rodriguez win place show. We also have Publisher, who I like as a win place show. So it's the son of American Pharaoh. The interesting thing about Publisher is he's never won a race, ever. Never won at all. He's coming second. He's coming fourth. But I like him to be a show horse because he's got talent to finish. It's just a question of does he want to do it.
Okay.
Luxor Cafe. I also like. He's currently at 15-1 morning line odds.
That's number 7.
Yeah, Luxor Cafe is a Japanese horse. It's also one of American Pharaoh's kids.
Okay.
The Japanese horses have been getting better and better and better every time. We haven't had one win yet, but we almost had one win last year with Forever Young. Came close down the stretch, gave it up by a few noses. So I like Luxor Cafe to show. I do love Luxor Cafe to make an impact in the Belmont Stakes if they continue to run them. I think those Japanese horses are a little stronger, and they're bred for long distances. I like the Japanese horse Luxor Cafe to win the Belmont Stakes. But with that being said, I'm putting him in my exotics. Win place show, place and show on Luxor Cafe. I don't expect him to win, just because I do believe that Japanese horses are cursed for the Kentucky Derby on the simple fact that they killed Ferdinand back in Japan a long, long time ago, and no one's ever won it since.
Oh my goodness. What about I did have one more question. Sovereignty.
Sovereignty is my last favorite. That's actually I was gonna put him in there one. He's got some great speed. Let me check just to see who's running on Sovereignty. Number 18 out of William Mott, who previously won the Derby. He's got, he's the second favorite, I think, early odds on Sovereignty.
Okay.
He's got ran by Manuel Franco, which is, a cause for concern in my book. I'm not really high on Mr. Franco as a Kentucky Derby winning jockey, but I like him to be in the mix. So what I got for exotics is Sandman, Rodriguez, Publisher, Luxor Cafe, and Sovereignty. Now, everyone's going to say I'm crazy for not putting journalism in these exotics. If you want to swap out Publisher with journalism, I'm fine with that. I just want to make more money. So I'm not putting journalism in there at all, even though I does think he has talent and he could very well finish in the game at the end of the bill. So we're going to do Sandman, Rodriguez, Publisher, and Luxor Cafe and Sovereignty in the superfecta box for the Kentucky Derby.
I hope y'all wrote all that down. That's our guy, Chuck.
We didn't get the trifectas in exact.
Oh, okay. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I like Rodriguez, Sandman, and Sovereignty in the trifecta box. If you want to throw journalism in there too, that's fine. Exacta box, first two. We're going to use 3 though. I'm going to use Sandman, Rodriguez, and Luxor Cafe in my exacting box. Everything else, the Win Play Show, Super Factor box is already done. Good to go.
There we go. Chuck breaking it down. Chuck, you gonna be back for the Preakness? Preakness is the second of the Triple Crown race, right?
Yeah, it's the second Triple Crown race. I would love to come back on a few days earlier before we can break it down. I'm going to trim it down to about 14 horses. Please expect Bob Baffert to have his full barn there, maybe 3 or 4 entries, if not more. I believe Uncle Bob is going to come back with force just to show I still am Mr. Merlin.
I got you. Thank you, Chuck. We appreciate it, man.
All right, man. Take care, guys.
All right, we'll see Chuck in about a couple of weeks. Now, listen, I hope you guys are ready. We told you she's here. She's backstage. She's ready. Get your pens and papers again because she's bringing all the clues. Bowie TV's on. CWall, how are you, ma'am?
I'm good. Clearly everybody isn't happy to see me.
I
heard a very deep sigh when I got up.
That one person. It's always one.
It's always one.
It's conflicting for me.
It's his
family at heart.
Cowboy.
He is family at heart, but we disagree so vehemently about football.
He don't like excellence. He don't like excellence.
Yeah, he don't understand.
I don't like flash in the pants, and that's what y'all are right now.
Candy, congratulations. I heard you got a bunch of new sisters.
Yes.
What happened?
You got a bunch of new sisters.
I have a bunch of new sisters. Hold on. What happened to me?
Yeah,
she said, what happened to me?
Yeah, what happened?
Are you talking about the season? He's talking about the season. Yeah.
Yes.
What?
It's you know that
you must didn't see Lou's post. You didn't see Mr. Holder's post.
Oh, his daughter crossing
yes.
I was gonna say, what happened?
What? It's that season.
Yes, it is crossing season.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. She has the date. She doesn't have my crossing date. I crossed on April 27th. That was my anniversary date.
Okay.
17 years in. So she crossed the day before.
Okay.
There we go. Well, shout out to all of the new Deltas. Yes, congratulations for doing that. Listen, Candy, there have been a lot of things since the draft that has happened. You've been very busy, and we wanted to get you on after the draft to find out about players. But before that even happened, nobody was talking about players on Monday.
No.
You guys were told about an announcement that was going to be made, and we all know that we're going back to the RFK site. It still has to be voted on, still has to be passed and things of that nature. So how exciting is that?
I mean, I was sitting there yesterday. I think I've said it maybe a couple times now. I was talking to Donna Hopkins, and I was sitting there, and I looked at her, and I was like, I cannot believe this is happening right now. And she kind of was like, what? And I was like, they really going back to RFK? Like, it was just like, what is going on in here? And so, I mean, I will go all the way back to owners meeting where I got the tip then that all of this was happening, but I'm gonna just blow it off. I'm honestly like, it wasn't that I wasn't using my clues. It was just like, whatever, because you just gotta, it's so much going on and it's a lot of talk. It's been a lot of talk the whole time. And I was just kind of like, whatever. Then early last Tuesday, pre-draft press conference, it came up in a conversation casually that it was either going to come out before the draft or after. And I immediately said, well, it can't be before the draft because it's Tuesday. We would have known that by now. And then we just kind of blew it off because now it's like draft. And so everybody trying to get their rest and do what they do the day after it's all over with. And we found out. And I was like, whoa, okay, this is really real. So, and telling you all very transparently about the day, of course, all the big guns, they could tell all the stuff Sunday night. I'm like, hey, I'm a big gun in my own mind, but hey, I'm gonna let ESPN, NBC Sports Watch them had that. They said be quiet. They said it's a secret. Candy Waller from Bowie TV going to bed, and I'm keeping a secret. I'm not posting Jack.
Hey, Candy, real quick, y'all can all y'all can answer this. How much for real? Because this has been in the talks for years, but it's always off limits.
Right.
How much this is a big screw you to Dan Snyder?
Oh, the biggest
Okay. I mean, that's what this is all about. Really,
It's just
to
old.
the councilman, because it was off the books. Never ever they wouldn't even allow them to touch the water.
But no, remember he had everyone in his face at first.
But like I said, but then with Josh Harris seems to be, oh man, we'll think about it. And 6 months later, it's a go. Oh,
Yeah.
it's a we'll vote on it. Which they wouldn't even bring it to the table.
No, not they. I mean, it's very apparent they did not want him in charge of that land. They didn't want him doing anything with. They didn't want him to touch it. Nothing. And it's like a deal, right? It's just that the city council has to vote on said deal.
Right.
And but it's like, I mean, Roger Goodell was there. I mean, we had a private presser early. We were downtown early yesterday morning to ask all the questions you can't necessarily ask publicly.
Yeah.
Now we can talk about the questions that were asked publicly. And I appreciate this because I've gone through a whole rant about the TV I want and who do I need to speak to. And I've talked to several people about these TVs because I'm like, oh, since we here, let me put in my plug for this TV that I want. Mm-hmm. So, because the Atlanta Falcons, their media room, everybody has their own TV. It's a real thing, everybody. I'm taking a picture this year because I'm like, everybody thinks I'm making this up. I'm gonna show a video, be like, look at these TVs. This is what I want. I'm telling you, it's real. Very nice establishment. But
you talking about the Mercedes-Benz Dome?
Yes. In the
say where that's located at. Say where's the Mercedes-Benz located at?
That's how we do.
Right outside prank call.
Doesn't the Commanders go down there this year?
Yes, man. We're gonna take over Atlanta again.
Yes. We might be there for that game.
Oh,
I'm serious because I really like that press box.
If y'all go, I will be y'all guest as well and go to a Commanders game out of town, which is unheard of.
Yeah,
well, y'all heard it here first,
and you can be in your burgundy gold.
First podcast. The whole crew.
Field
the
trip.
Whole crew. Well, we find out the 14th. We find out when that game is.
Field trip.
Yeah,
have me a Falcons jersey ready, babe. I need to borrow one that day.
Oh, you a hater.
We wear our uniform to games.
You a hater to the utmost.
I'm gonna wear Georgia Bulldog jersey. I know what you're talking about.
But to all of that point, Atlanta that was one of the questions I had in the closed session, which was which stadiums are you kind of modeling after? They mentioned Atlanta, they mentioned Nashville because the Titans are getting one right, and they mentioned Allegiant, right? Okay. And as you know, Roger Goodell in the public briefing, he talked about stadiums that are in cities, like right in the middle of a city for anyone who is concerned about that. Again, Atlanta came up. So I know that's definitely one of the ones that they have spent some time, just understanding the infrastructure and just the fan experience is a big deal. Mm-hmm. So I know Atlanta is one. And they also brought up Detroit, which, this January is my first time there because I was like, how do they do this in Detroit? Like what? Right. And it's phenomenal. It is great. And the fan experience is amazing. Lions fans have a good time at their game. Well, for the most part, they have a good time at their games. But they have, the fan experience is very nice. And so Roger Goodell was there, and the deal isn't even final. Roger Goodell and some of his staff was there, so that lets you know. John Riggins was there. John Riggins don't come out.
No, he don't go nowhere.
Yeah. He was there yesterday with Daryl Green and Coach Gibbs, and of course Doug Williams is always there as a team official. But John Riggins, and that's what made me turn around and look at Donna. Well, I was looking at them because that's her people. Yeah. Those don't be my people. They act like I'm just the little kid, which I guess to them I am, but like. That's Donna Hopkins people right there. That's why I was joking with her now. Like, you have shown me, like, you are a Washington legend. Because when these people see her, she in the mix, all right? She ain't like the other people are my people. They her people too, but those are her folks. But I was staring at John Riggins. I mean, because and Daryl Green, funny enough, thought I was staring at him. I wasn't. So when we started talking about it, he was like, you was just staring, like looking at me. I was waving. I said, I waved back. He said, but you just kept staring. So I was looking at John Riggins. And because I just couldn't, like, I've met him, but never met him. But it was just the reality, like, oh, they really going back to RFK.
Yep.
Because he's not coming out his house for a whole bunch of talking.
Nope. So we have to get 7 votes of yes from the 12-member councils of DC.
It's like 7 or in 13. We keep going back and forth with these numbers. I think it's 7 of 13. People like it was like only 3 are on board. 4 are on board. We need 3 more.
Okay.
So is this a lot of grandstanding so that they can swing some deals to get some things in their zones and things like that? So hey, I need my little cut of this pie before I say yes to this stadium, because everyone wants the stadium to happen.
Everybody wants a piece of the pie.
Yeah.
In regards to development and what they're going to do and how that money is going to be sent back into different communities.
Yeah. It's definitely 4. I don't want to get into like the names of it, but they need 3 more, right? I'm looking at my notes. And here's the thing, because that was some of the questions that I had on the side, and like in the closed session, which is really around, because I'll tell you all, my closed session questions were around for the one for the team was about who they're modeling after. Who are you looking for as best in class, best practices, all this, that, and the third. They did not mention AT&T Stadium, just so you know.
Nice shot.
That was for the deep side when I got on the call. That was for the deep side when I got on.
His Wi-Fi went out real fast.
It did.
That's for that. But anyway, we even now. We're even. So
Nope, we ain't even. Go ahead, Candy. Go ahead.
And my second question was for the city, for DC, which was, what are you saying about the concerns about increase in crime and traffic? And they said that was a good question. The city administrator, Kevin Donahue, said that's a good question. They're going to be continuing working on that, right? They're doing a lot of capacity studies with Metro and all that. They gave the example of like with Nats Park and Audi Field, there were the same concerns, right? Crime increase, traffic, or just accidents overall. Like somebody could get hit by a car. It could be a car accident, whatever the case may be. And because of just the overall police presence, overall, like just traffic presence, a lot of that has decreased.
Well, they got us all out of there. They got us out of there, that area around the Nat Stadium and Audi Field. So
to that point, they are, and I had the presentation. I showed a presentation last night.
Yeah, John.
I don't know if y'all saw it, but I shared the presentation they gave us, the public presentation. So it was very detailed as well on just all of the things they plan on doing. They said residents would not be displaced. They're going to be adding. So this is like an entertainment and plaza district. They said over 180 acres of land, of which the stadium would take up 16 of it. The whole thing is just, it includes the stadium. It's not all of the stadium. And so when you talk, and I'm going to tell you, some of because of the current state of the federal government, it's going to be hard for someone to say, because some of their positions are very compelling, right? Because they're talking about how many jobs people can get. We need to get people jobs. People are losing their federal jobs. We want them to be able to stay in DC, be able to afford DC. So this is going to bring opportunity. Right now, it's almost like the perfect storm because people are absolutely losing their jobs. This is going to absolutely bring jobs and opportunity. And I can tell you this, Roger Goodell was there, and everybody hasn't even voted. Everybody, they don't even have 7 for sure yeses. And Roger Goodell was there. And definitely during the public conversation, John Com asked the question about the probability of bringing a Super Bowl here, like hosting.
Yeah.
And it was like it increases drastically. Now, here's my thing, and I already know who not gonna like this, and said probably gonna like it either. If the Commanders were ever so crazy, Adam Peters and Dan Quinn, to actually go and win a Super Bowl between now and 2030, I'm just saying, even if they were to go, I'm saying that pays for your stadium.
Yep.
True. Kenny, I got a question now. I got a real question. I got
I got some breaking news.
Go ahead, breaking news.
What happened now? Because
I got some breaking news. This just came directly to my phone, and I'm just going to read it just as it came in. I'm not going to say who it's from. This FYI, Candy's probably my favorite guest out of everyone that you've had on. I love her insight and approach to covering the team.
Oh, well, thank you.
That's breaking news.
Al didn't send that. I know.
I
Al did
I
it.
didn't send it.
Candy, when they gonna stop?
Thank
Candy,
you.
seriously, this is my question. You know this as a DC, as a DMV,
Yeah.
they can't do but so much with the traffic around that area.
Oh, it's gonna be
The roads are awful. The whole Independence stretch, 295.
terrible.
They can't. You can't. The river, everything makes the logistics part of this. I mean, the river, the Anacostia River, you come across that whole corridor is stuck, and you got traffic. You got the majority of your traffic. A lot of your fans coming from Virginia.
Yeah.
Very few coming from actually the DC area. You don't have that problem with Nets. The Nets, their following is around the stadium, and a lot of people coming in, and a lot of that local area, especially how they built it up. How are they gonna get these people in and out of there?
Metro. The metro is going to increase. The metro. That's my guess, right?
Yeah.
And there was a slide on there. They talked about that because I'm gonna also say this because I'm a driver. You know,
Right?
There's only 8,000 parking spaces.
Yeah, I told y'all the math wasn't mathing.
Only 8,000 parking spaces. That I'm be like, okay, now I'm gonna give y'all some time to figure this out. But I can tell you right now, wait, because then I started joking around, like, well, how much the houses around there gonna cost? Because am I gonna move over there? Because listen, because I'm not, you know what I mean? And so a $65,000 seat stadium, but you got to consider the workers.
Right. That's what I was saying.
We did all of this earlier. We did all of it.
Yeah, when you talk about seats, that's not including who works there. So we're talking 8,000 parking spaces as of right now. And so I just see a heavy increase in Metro and the line on the Metro. Because somebody asked me,
crazy.
How would you get there? I said, as a fan, right now, it sounds like you got to get there. You got to go through Metro. And whatever you do, if the game started 1, you need to be on your way by 7.
And what percentage are they going to answer? She's telling the truth.
Yes.
What percentage are they trying to put their little greasy fingers on a piece of that Metro money too?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it's going to increase the economy a great deal.
Yeah.
The reality is people are going to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. My thing was that we never got to is we don't just have fans in the DMV.
That's what I'm saying.
You got to go down. We got people that come up from the Carolinas. We got people that come from Philly. We got people that come from West Virginia. We got people that travel all over to come see this team.
Well, what happens now is the district becomes a destination.
Right.
Like people are going to travel here and then do all the other things. They're going to go sightseeing and they're going to go do this and do that and all that leading up to the game.
But that's the right thing, which is exactly what you're saying. They're going to isolate a lot of people out of this game. Because, like you're saying, it's going to become a destination. So people are going to start. The hotels are going to be. They're going to treat it like out of town. It's going to be a destination Friday or Saturday to Monday or Friday. Yeah. But that's going to limit the true home fans from
in a big way. Now, I will say, I'm gonna go back to Atlanta. So said this y'all because Atlanta, they really done a great job. And I like how the Saints did it too, but really Atlanta, that stadium, the concession, everything is so affordable. It's really good in that way. It really is.
DC don't care about affordability.
But to that point, because it's going to be such a complex. Like everything, they're going to have hotels out there.
Yeah.
It's going to be like 6 hotels. It's a whole thing that it's like, I literally was like joking. I'm like, okay, so we was like joking. I was like, all right, so where y'all live at now? Am I moving to DC? Do I need to move to DC? Like, where am I going?
Apparently, yeah.
Because at one point, this is me being transparent, right? Because that's what I do. I was going to move to Ashburn. And I was just like, well, no, I'll move to DC. I mean, I could get there from where I live now. But of course, where they play now is much easier. They will continue to play at Northwest Stadium, though. They will be there, and they're helping Maryland to still pay for it as well. And so until 2030, and so that's why I'm like, do I need to move? Like, I mean, what are we talking about here?
Right.
For game day situations, because like I said, I was strongly considering like Ashburn, because that's where I be at all the time. And so, but game days, that's gonna be a different kind of look. It's fairly easy, even going as early as I do for games, to get in and out of games now.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be that easy. Me being just very transparent, I do not think it's going to be, and y'all know I get there very early. I do not think it's going to be that easy to get in and out of there on a game day.
I think we've been spoiled at this point.
You got to get ready for some PSLs.
I will go to the game. I'll park. I'll go right in the stadium, and everything is just, it's smooth.
And going back to Detroit, Atlanta had a good situation. Detroit is right now. I have not been to every stadium yet, but even from a media access perspective, because Detroit is not that large, right? The same kind of situation, huge stadium, and I think the ballpark is right over there too, right? Mm-hmm. But from a media perspective, we had to get on a bus, right? And it was like a mile away. And I know y'all probably like, but there was like no parking. So even when we left late that night, it's cold because it's January. And it's like, you got to be insane to walk. And I'm saying that out loud because I know 2 people that walked. They're crazy. I won't tell you who they are. But it was freezing and we had to get back on this bus. I was like, there's no way we can walk this. And so it might be a situation like that, even for us, right? When you get there early, get there late, and sure, you could park free in one of these parking garages over there by Nats Park when, because they won't be, well, they might be in season if they, do another run or something like that. But you get what I'm saying? Like, because I definitely was looking at the presentation deck, like 8,000 parking spaces. Anybody like to explain this? Let me.
That's like that path don't man.
Hey, what's wrong with John, man? He.
No, but that's true.
That's true. They're talking about water taxis and all that.
They know what's in that water, right?
No, water taxi. I would park right at
that nasty Anacostia River. That river nasty, man. Them boats are sinking. It'll melt the boat.
Like a moat.
It'll melt the boats. All the bodies and all that mess that's in them waters for years and years, man.
You look, let me tell you something. That'll be it right there.
The economic boost is real. And I mean, the team is putting up $2.7 billion.
Right.
Based on the math, I was mathing because we saw a lot of the deal situation. It'll probably be closer to $3 billion when it's all said and done. Right. But I'm like, these people basically are putting like $10 billion into this totally, right? Because they paid $6 billion for the team.
Yep.
They are going to ultimately pay like $3 billion for this, right? On the onset, right? And then you got to keep paying and whatever, unless it, ends up paying itself. And they're going through extensive renovations now in Ashburn.
Right. I got a question. Who's going to own this stadium, Candy?
The Commanders.
Right.
That's the issue with the RFK. They never technically owned the RFK stadium.
Now the whole thing, this whole 180-acre thing, like the rest of it is the city, but I think the stadium is the Commanders.
Right.
I'm gonna make sure that it's like clearly clarified because they keep talking about this 180-acre situation.
Right.
180-acre project in which the stadium is included in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think? I do. By the time the stadium comes, I'm sorry.
Would it be what?
He was saying something shady.
I was wondering if y'all thought y'all would still be winning by the time this actual stadium opened.
They clearly somebody done told somebody, hey, Adam Peters and Dan Quinn was dead, and they was suited and booted. I said, don't
There
y'all
you go.
y'all should have said we'll see y'all on Monday. They were like, it was a secret. I was like,
I ain't still be here.
So I do have a question. There's quite a bit of money that the city has to put up. It's like $800 million or something like that.
Well, 500 million. It's like 500 million,
Okay.
right? Then Events DC for the parking situation is like another 181.
Mhm.
Then there's like another $175 million that the Commanders are putting up that then the city has to end up like paying back from some other budget or whatever.
Okay. So are they pushing like
it's from their capital budget?
has that come up in like conversations as far as people who may oppose?
Oh yeah. I mean, that was the I mean, I was like in the closed session, it was kind of like I'm gonna just sit here while everybody else want to go back and forth because that's too much carrying the one for me, and that's just a lot of conversation right now. Somebody's gonna have to pay extra money about something.
Yeah.
Because I was like, they getting them tripped up on this one, and I'm just going mind my business. Not the team, but it's like somebody's got to do the math right because that don't.
That's just like that. Just like that salary cap math. Only certain teams can add and subtract, and other teams,
I was like,
it's not real. Salary cap's not real.
I was like,
whatever. That's how I feel like. Whatever.
Literally,
So, Candy, there was a draft on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
There was. I was like, nobody cares about the draft
Not anymore. Not anymore. We got some new players.
But that's the sneak. I think that's like the appeal, right? Like, get everybody talk about this so the team can like fall to the back and go do whatever it is they need to go do.
Right.
Yeah. So on Friday, we drafted a tackle, which we have Larry Tunsil. We drafted a tackle last year. Looks like we're going to push a tackle into guard. This offensive line is all of a sudden improved in front of Jaden Daniels. Talk about our new draft pick.
Adam Peters in the front of Adam Peters, Lance Newmark, those guys. This is what I've been telling people. I say it here. They haven't given us a reason to not trust them yet.
Right.
That's what I'll say. And each time I was after the first round, and I do not want anybody to think I'm throwing any shade, right? But after the first round, I said, okay, I don't know what's going on. And I like to pride myself on knowing what's going on.
Right.
And I instantly realized I didn't. And nobody led me astray. I think I led myself astray, right? And I was just like, I don't know what they're doing. So I'm just going to sit back and watch the show. Let me just see what they do. Yep. While paying attention to what other people do. Because fair is fair, objective is objective. I'm going to always bring my fair and objective perspective. The NFC East got better last week. NFC East got better last week. I think each team in the NFC East had a good draft, a solid draft. I do. And I was just like, oh, I'm gonna always drag the Giants. Ain't no Giants fan on here, I don't think. But I get the Cowboys a hard time. I get the Giants a hard time.
As you should. The Giants are trash.
Oh my goodness. I give them after last year Hard Knocks, I'm never gonna forget it for the rest of my life.
They won't either. The Giants fans don't.
Right.
So after the first round, I said, let me just see what's happening here. So I'm gonna go through each one of the draft picks. Josh Connolly Jr. So much of him reminds me of Jaden Daniels in terms of his temperament. Even when I asked him about his approach to the game, he said he's cool, calm, and collected. And it's like when the ball snapped, he snapped. I said, oh, wow, that's how Jaden acts. Okay, great. They have somebody to help protect him that is like him. That's phenomenal. That's very good because that's literally how he is. And of course, there had started to be a lot of highlight films and all that going around of him one-on-one with Abdul Carter. Right. And what really made me say, let me just pay attention to what this front office is doing. Probably, I heard this again, being transparent, for maybe 4 out of the 5 picks was that when it was their time to pick, that player was at the top of their draft board. That's big. That is very big. And they said they got calls in the first and second rounds, many calls the first round, right? And they said it wasn't worth the risk.
Mm-hmm.
That's big, because I'm getting to know these folks now.
Yep.
And if they say that it wasn't worth the risk to move or to trade, that's huge. They also do analytics from a perspective of, they look at the probability and how high they perform matching up against top players. They're still very high.
Right.
How that's part of what they do when they create their draft board and where they rank people for their board. Tremendous. Yes, Josh Connolly he's huge. Great family, all nice people, very proud, very humble group of people, ready to work, hard worker. I asked him about his accolades during Senior Bowl week. I will give you all the background context on why I asked that question. Josh Connolly Jr. actually did not have a good week that week. Yet for the Senior Bowl game, he was recognized by the defensive linemen and the linebackers as the top offensive player for the game and overall that week. I asked him about that accolade. And I asked him about the week. I asked him about the accolade. He on his own said, I didn't have a good week that week. I said, we got an honest kid right here. Because he didn't have a good week that week. Practice wasn't all that great. But game day, he showed up such that he was recognized by his opponents. That's big.
That's very big.
Yeah.
Really big. Second player, Trey Amos.
Still.
I didn't know what to do with this, right? I didn't know what to do with it.
That was a steal for y'all, I thought.
Huh? Good, right?
A little bit of first rounder.
So this was somebody else that Adam Peters was like, they were nervous. Like, is he going to be there? Is he going to be there? Is he going to be there? It was not worth the risk to trade.
Right.
They were getting calls all day Friday. Want to trade him? Nope. Nope. We're going to take our chances. Nope. Nope. Was the highest on their draft board.
Yep.
I see. So that was one of the questions I asked Adam. I said, oh, I guess this is just like Christmas, and kind of laugh, because getting the player that's the highest on your draft board when you pick is like, doesn't happen.
Yeah, right. That's like, hey, mama, I'm home.
Right.
That doesn't happen. And these weren't like the necessarily, I didn't feel like big, I don't know, man, that just could have been me, right? Because I was just, let's just keep it a buck, right? I'm like, oh, they going edge rusher, they going running back.
Yep.
So after they, offensive tackle, corner, I said, well, just catch me outside. I don't need to play this game. This is why I don't gamble. I'm sick of reporting. This is why I don't do all that, because I'm not good at it. But I just say, but sometimes I am. I be like, yes, but no, this wasn't my year when it came to that. But all good things. What I've been told is like he's a bigger Mikey Samerstill. Super duper smart, hard worker, all the things that fit the Commander's standard. So I said, cool, that's good, right? Not third rounder, because they didn't have a third rounder. And I thought they were going to gas us. And that's what goes back to not playing this game very well, right? Which was, this insider tip, we did our pressers earlier on Friday, right? After the second round, after we talked to Trey on the phone or via Zoom. And he was like, Adam said he can meet with y'all now. We was like, what? Because don't let me look. I was mad because I'm like, I'm staying in Ashburn. We're not supposed to leave here till 2-3 o'clock in the morning because Thursday was super late. And I was like, I could have went home. Like, what are we doing? But we had to get there early on Saturday. We were just messing around. And so I asked them, like, I guess this means you just said you're done for the night. Like, you probably done for the night. And he was just like, and I was like, wow, they're really not going to trade. Like,
Not gonna trade.
like this is it.
Yeah.
This is it for these people. And so then you go to the next, what is it, the next day, right? Is
Saturday.
what Jalen Lane, right? Jalen
Very
Lane,
good pickup.
speed, fast.
Can't catch a cold, but speed.
Speed.
Here he go.
I'm just telling you, first thing you need to do with him is give it to a jug machine because he can't catch it. I mean, he's a hell of a player. And let me say real quick, Canley, are you noticing one thing I'm seeing with Adam Peters? And I think his thing is blue bloods and speed. Everything those are his kind of go-tos. He's going to err on the side of the speed, and he's going to trust a blue blood or big time program in regards to it. Not so much that, but definitely speed.
Yeah,
That's
the
really
red
all
scores.
outside the lineman. That's what all these guys that you all drafted have in common.
Yeah. I mean, everybody probably saw the thing that went viral with Cliff Kingsbury leaving that note.
Yep.
For Cliff Kingsbury, like, go get the tackle from Oregon. Like, just get the tackle from Oregon. And so, yes, in terms of his speed as well, and him being so big and that fast, it's like truly an anomaly. But Jalen is fast. He's speed. That's another thing that Cliff Kingsbury likes as well on his offense. I'm like, you talking about he can't catch. I'm like, is he the next returner? Is who's gonna return the football? So
He's
I
a punt
still, because
returner.
we go back in time, right? Luke McCaffrey came in once Olamide Zaccheaus started having some issues right around week 9. It was the Steelers game. And it probably started a little bit before that, but for sure, week 9 or so, that's when they started getting Luke McCaffrey into there. Remember, very early on in the season, it was Austin Eckler. Then he started dealing with the injury.
He got the concussions. Yeah.
And you know how good he was at returner because he actually, despite being out all that time throughout the season, he still made second team All-Pro.
Yeah,
as a returner. Austin Eckler was actually very good. But of course, with the injury history now, okay, somebody else need to come in to be able to do that. Also, don't forget they have the dynamic kickoff rule now, where you really got to try not to get that touchback or you get an automatic to the 45. So they're going to get better. These punters and everything, they will get really good at getting the ball as close to the 1 or 2 as much as they can. But they're going to need somebody to get them some really, really optimal field position.
Yeah.
right.
Eckler's good. He just don't remember it.
All right. Be quiet. I shouldn't even laugh.
I promise.
So, like I said, he even laughed at that, but that was funny. But then the next one, Kane Madrano. Ken Norton Jr. Coached him when he was at UCLA.
Okay.
This goes back to connections, right? Didn't really know, started talking to some people, think maybe, not real sure, can't figure out if it's him or Dominique Hampton. I'm like, who is going to be the Cam Chancellor from the Legion of Boom? Is somebody. Is either Dominique or is Kane.
So we're moving.
Something to watch in that position group for sure. Now, Michael Walker was a linebacker, made a lot of impact on special teams, and he played a lot too. That's probably what Kane will do. You know, Jordan McGee, I think very high of him, absolutely, but he dealt with some injuries last year. Right? But keep a watch on that group because everybody knows Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner.
Yep.
Everybody knows that. But what else from the draft perspective? But somebody, Dominique Hampton or Kane, I cannot again figure out who it will be, how it will materialize. Somebody is Cam Chancellor from the Legion of Boom. I can't figure out.
You hope.
That's what they would hope. Somebody is who they think. I'm not saying that's who it is. You get what I'm saying? I'm not saying, but I think that role that he played or what he can work with is somebody. I can't figure out who they are looking to have in that role, if that makes sense.
Right.
And this is the guy out of UCLA, which Al also pointed out is super duper fast. I
He is.
wasn't sure about his size
He
for
was.
being.
He's something. Is let me not say something ain't right because I mean people will be offended. I'm gonna walk in the rookie camp and be like, "That's the lady that said."
Yeah.
It's not what I meant. It was a joke, but he's the fastest linebacker at the combine.
I'm about to say
Yeah.
he's fast linebacker.
But
Yeah.
continue to be for like just an overall athletic ability is like, is he supposed to run that fast? Supposed to jump that high? You know, just based on his makeup, his physical
Right.
stature, and how he is.
Mhm.
I think that might be the sleeper of this draft, me personally.
Well, I think they're counting on a lot of these guys, like you said, who tested so well, who fell a little bit, still looking to blossom later,
Yes.
or haven't reached their potential. And that's what any great GM is looking. You don't want
Right.
the guy to top out in college. You want him to be upwardly rising as you're picking him
Yes.
and bring him through your system.
Yes.
To find those sleepers and things along those lines.
Exactly. And in your position group, if you have a Ken Norton Jr. as the coach, as the position group coach, and you have a Bobby Wagner and a Frankie Louvu to learn from, you kind of set in that regard when you already know the coach, your position coach. Then that leads me to Ja'Cory, right?
Speed again.
I was absolutely impressed by this kid. First time I saw the thing, I said, wait a minute, why he only played one game? Somebody help me out. What's going on here? What's happening? This is why I don't play this game. I just do what I'm supposed to do, you know. I don't know. I'll answer that later. I guess there was a mix-up when he was at Alabama A&M or somewhere. He played somewhere else, and it was some mixed-up with his years of eligibility.
Yeah.
He played one game at Arizona, but they said, you know, basically he was ineligible to play. He still showed up to every single practice, every single game, like he was playing. Nobody knew he couldn't play. Nobody knew he was ineligible. Was a huge advocate for his teammates, right? But still showed up, never stopped showing up. Did every single rep, did every single everything, went to the Shrine Bowl and killed it.
And he fell to the 7th round, though.
I think because of the years of ineligibility.
Yeah.
It was almost like a steal. They said he was phenomenal at the Shrine Bowl. Like
a lot of these kids, it's amazing. A lot of these kids' draft stocks took a huge boost by the work they did in the Senior Bowl and Shrine Bowls and a lot of these games. Unusually, a lot different than most years. I think a lot of these GMs put a lot of stock in this stuff because they were able to see these kids a lot longer and more up close this year. So, yeah.
And for all the people for all of the people that opt out of these bowls, you know, it does mean something when you start to see a lot of people from the Senior Bowl, the Shrine Bowls get drafted, you know. So maybe some of them will continue to tap out, but you're giving other people opportunities to get in there and show something, especially a young man who, because someone else wore the same number that he wore, they couldn't figure out who was who. And I'm like, why didn't they just go watch the tape?
Kenny, I got a question for you. Do you think the impact of COVID, because a lot of these kids you're seeing, they've had film exam for an extra year or even two. With a lot of these kids, like the quarterback you was just talking about, did that impact of making this draft, why it wasn't high in quarterback play or quarterbacks to choose, and we'll get to ask that question in a second. It was more depth. It was deeper across the board in the other position plays.
Yeah, we were like, is this the last COVID class? Because this is crazy. So I think this was the last COVID class.
Yeah.
It was the last one, and I said we sick of COVID classes because this is too much. But to that point, it also helps with like the overall time in game, and for some of them, right? Because some had different rules and regulated. It's just, but it also makes you really think about going back to like the scouts and everything. That's a hard job, right? Because it's a lot of film. It is just a rough time. Right. And I think that it was why this draft was so bizarre in most areas, not all, but in most areas. I think that's why it was so bizarre in seeing just the difference in why players were dropping as much as they did.
Yeah.
And NIL. How about NIL? Was it impact NIL because that is, have you seen, like with basketball? I know it's a lot different because of the loyalty sync of players jumping schools. Did they see anything different from the character issue of a loyalty of kids skipping school or jumping schools, or does that impact anything you think with the draft?
I think so, but that's just my opinion. I hadn't talked to any scouts or anybody about that specifically, but I think so because now you don't have to wait till you get to the league to get your money.
Yeah.
True. Lady
and
A, you got a question?
you really, depending on who you ask, maybe not even all that great. And you got a whole lot of money and you're rich now, you know?
Yep.
So it's not like you got to wait anymore to get your money. And so that kind of is gone, but then that's what weighs so much on your why. You know, I asked that question at the pre-draft presser, like how much of the why and their purpose matters. And of course, that's a part of the puzzle. It's a lot of different pieces of the puzzle, but that's a part of it. Because if you're doing it for the money, I can tell you right now, I've never played, but that's the wrong reason. Because you give up way too much of your life.
Yep.
Even your just physical life, all the things to play that any sport.
Yeah.
So it's got to be about more than the money, even though the money is fantastic.
You got to love the game.
The whole process of it. The whole entire process. And I think that's what got Ja'Cory in. I think that's why they fell in love with him, because I'm like, kid, you're not even playing and you just here every day. And they said he was the hypest one, going back to just some of those intangibles. Every play, hyping his teammates up, supporting his teammates, and already knew he was not playing. But when he got his opportunity back at that Shrine Bowl, they said he smashed it. It was undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited about him. I like stories like that. I like all of them. I'm going to say, I told myself that if this team stuck with their 5 picks, these guys are good.
Mm-hmm.
They're good.
Yeah.
They're good. Because I just was like, there's no way they'd get out of this draft with less than 7 picks. But the fact that they got calls in 2 different rounds at least and didn't move because it wasn't worth the risk.
Yeah. These
are risk takers.
The guys were there. The guys they wanted were there. That's what that tells me.
The guys they wanted were there, and they are very, very happy with who they are thrilled with who they have. I mean, they were last year too. So this is 2 years with this regime, and you know, we'll see what happens, because I do expect, maybe I shouldn't have any expectations, but I do expect maybe the ones that we didn't hear as much from last year. I brought up Dominique. Somebody, they're going to have to do something.
Yeah. You got to
be waiting around for it too much.
Yeah.
Nope. Candy, the schedule coming up for the Commanders here in a little bit. I know rookie minicamp will be coming up, and then what?
OTAs, but the media doesn't get out there. We'll be out there for rookie camp. It's the weekend of May 9th, but we will only be allowed to be there on May 9th.
Right.
And then OTAs, but the first day we go out there, I think is May 28th. I feel like they didn't give us as many days. I'm gonna have to talk to somebody about that. But I mean, and that's fine. That's fine. They might not want us to be there. They'd be like, y'all snitch. Y'all talk too much. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
John's question about Terry. Terry was at OTAs. What's the word on the building about paying him?
Terry had too many pictures up yesterday. There's too many pictures of him around everywhere. When I see him, I'm going to tell him.
He just got paid.
And I'm like, they're probably going to pay Terry, because he's clearly, it was just Jaden and Terry. Everywhere. So I was like, okay, the new dynamic duo. That's nice. That's cute.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying.
Don't be mad.
Dak and CD had that kind of relationship. Then you
Dak and CD, you wish Dak and CD do have that type of relationship. Don't you do that, Candy? Don't you talk that blasphemy about that? That's the only good thing we got. Halfway decent.
But I definitely think they're gonna give him his coin.
Yeah, I
think he deserves it. I think he deserves it as well.
Pam, that's that salary cap. Pam, give him all the money you can.
Oh no, we got the salary cap out.
They got the salary cap. It's unbelievable.
Give him some Jamar Chase money. Y'all said he elite. Pick told me he's top 5. Pay him like he didn't pick.
Well,
Oh.
unfortunately, Al,
I
we got a rookie quarterback.
Unfortunately, Al, now me. Now.
We got a rookie quarterback.
I was so
We got a rookie quarterback. And Terry almost
What
30.
was this? I don't know. I can't remember if it was in. I don't know, but it was like we made a joke about paying Terry, and then he's I don't say who it was. It was like at some point you got to pay Jaden, and they was like, "Well, Josh got to pay him. I ain't paying. I don't have to pay him." And I was like,
ain't nobody ready for that yet. My
right,
pockets is not
right.
deep enough.
That bill.
ooh.
That
About
bill's
90.
coming due.
Give
That
out
bill's
90
gonna
when he's
come
ready to come through. Pay him. Give him all the money you can.
Candy, thank you so much for staying up late and hanging out with us.
Oh, definitely.
Can we get her idea? Can we get her opinion about the Shador situation? Just to how
No, I didn't go in there. I was going to ask her a question about 100 men or gorilla who.
No, I don't want to gorilla.
No, we don't want
What
to
do you
answer that
feel
question.
about? What's real quick, Kenny? What do you feel about? What was the real reason behind? What do you feel about the Shador situation? Not even for real reason. Just give me a quick synopsis about that. Because pick's wrong. But
I just think it was more about me. I posted about some misinformation being out there. I think there was some misinformation about, interviews and all this and that. I think it was more of a dig at Dion than it was.
Okay.
I mean, if you want her Dion, mess with his
kids.
Yep. Anybody mess with
anybody's.
Yeah.
I think it was a personal attack that happened publicly.
Yep.
And it's unfortunate, but it wasn't until the national media. I don't know if y'all were still watching TV Friday night, but we had some healthy banter about it, in the media room, because by the time the third round was over, once it ended and national media started going off, I said, and there it is. When Mel Kiper started losing it, Scott Van, everybody started losing it. I said, now this is everybody's sign. Something ain't right here, everybody. And there's nothing that has gone down with that kid directly that should have caused all of this.
Yeah.
Nothing has gone down like that. Now somebody playing.
Right.
In his face and in all of our face.
Yes. And then only for Cleveland to trade up to the Eagles and get them in the fifth round. That's crazy.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Candy. We really appreciate it. It looks like everybody needs some sleep, especially Sid.
What?
Sid's like, huh?
Hungry.
Stay hungry. I'm hungry.
Feed me, Seymour.
Sid's getting hangry. Sid's getting hangry over there.
That is so funny.
Candy, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. Y'all catch CWall on Bowie TV. She's amazing. Use your clues. She gives you all the insider notes. You just got to put it together.
Yep, I got to use my own clues now.
Yeah. See, look. You notice I didn't text you this year about the draft.
No, I didn't know. I gave up. First round, I said, well, all right. That's it. But I did get a compliment when I made that joke. Somebody said, we realized last year you were very, very smart. So we were like, okay, now we got the smart person paying attention to what we're doing. We got to leave her, keep her on her toes. She asked us real hard questions. Like, wait.
There we go. That's what we do in Bowie.
So,
That's what we do.
I didn't know.
Shouts out to Bowie. We in here deep.
That's right. Bowie High
We in here
School.
deep.
Oh, Lord.
Bowie High School.
About the great work. That's the one thing. That's why I always pull for you, Candy. I don't like the team you follow, but I love the work you do. I appreciate it. Like I said, I follow you. You always give great notes and great nuggets, so I can appreciate it. I don't always agree with them, and I tell you that in our chats. But
this year will be some good football play when the NFC
Yes,
East. Seriously, the NFC East got better last week. They got better. I'm impressed.
All the way around.
Rank them, Candy. Rank them. Who did the best? Who did the worst? 1 through 4. NFC East.
Unfortunately, I think the Giants probably got my best. I will say, right? The Giants.
That depends on Jackson Dart, though, doesn't it? A lot of that depends on Jackson Dart.
It does. It does. But they had a really good draft. The Giants did. They really did. I think. I mean, if on the outside looking in, it's hard to not go. It's hard to not. I know everybody's going to shoot me, but if I'm being objective, it's hard to not put the Commanders last. I'm being honest. because some of the larger names in the draft got drafted by the other teams, right?
Yeah.
So even when I look at like Jahad Campbell, that hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
Jahad Campbell really hurt my feelings. Oh, wait a minute, somebody hold on.
Say what's going on?
I was like,
You got some smooth
Okay.
jams.
I know your stomach wasn't playing that song.
but last in a good way, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
We had 5
We had the
picks.
fewest pick.
Right, we had the fewest picks, and you got to make them count. But Jahad Campbell with the Eagles really hurt. It was somebody else they drafted that I was like, oh, and I was disgusted. But I was really disgusted by all of the Giants draft because they did well. And then Dallas picked up Micah Parsons 2.0. I can't say his name, so I call him Micah Parsons 2.0.
Is there Ruku? Is there?
But I called him that when he was in college, and that really bothered me.
How does Baltimore and the Eagles just keep falling? They sit there and stay there, and these players just keep falling to them. It's the
Baltimore Ravens had, the Eagles had an elite, but the Baltimore Ravens, and they had 11 picks.
Yep.
They used the most of them. The Baltimore Ravens had an elite draft.
Yes.
When it comes to scouting and talent evaluation, they are incredible, and it's like they get the best luck every single time.
It makes
Baltimore Ravens are that is a master class. Every year is a master class.
Costa, he learned from the best with
and they did get the one HBCU player, right? They got the one HBCU player.
What's new for Marshall? How did they get the kid from Marshall? He had problems, but he's going to be a problem.
He's going to be a problem. Their secondary, the Ravens secondary,
got better.
Oh, my Lord.
Yes. University of Georgia.
They're going to be a problem.
You heard say it.
University of Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, but at least the Commanders don't play them. I don't think the NFC.
No,
the Ravens,
we'll see them 4 years down the road. We're done with
that. But they on a track too, though. Boy TV does cover the Ravens, and so I believe that they are on a track too. They extended John Harbaugh those 3 years. Mm-hmm. They better make a move to be in the Super Bowl or win one in the next 3. I really think that's a team that might be on the clock from an organization.
They're the favorite right now to win the Super Bowl.
I think so. Yeah. This draft was first of all, I was like, how did they even end up with 11 picks?
Somebody messed up.
And they didn't waste not one.
Nope. They ain't draft a kicker or a punter. Well, they did draft a kicker. They drafted a kicker to replace.
But it was still a good, you know what I mean?
The best kicker, the only kicker that got drafted.
I said, this dude, Ozzie Newsome, Eric DeCosta, and they be so quiet. If you're really not paying attention, you won't even know.
Their picks went in real fast.
They just because it was like they didn't have to think about it. They just
know.
If you're not paying attention, you're gonna miss it. You're gonna miss.
We can't let this happen again. I feel like the Ravens and Philly, they have the cheat code.
Yeah, they got something.
It's not good. We can't keep leaving the gate.
I don't know how they got 11 picks. That's all I kept saying. I said they got 11 picks, and they weren't missing.
No.
And it was easy pick, and it was easy people for the pick. The people that you like, how are they still there? Here go the Ravens coming up to pick.
Yeah, they was like, I will take them.
Yeah, that green pick from Marshall. I know he got off issues.
Yeah, he got issues. But it's almost like if you think about it, the Ravens and Eagles. Sometimes I think the Ravens always do great, but they're not going to necessarily get the people that's got like a little bit of issues or problems.
But their locker room can hold it.
Yeah, because the Eagles, that's one team that don't care what your issues are.
But that's who I thought you all were going to try to get. I thought you all were going to take a risk on Green. I didn't want because he was still there, and I said I don't want him to get that kid's he's a problem for anybody.
I'm not sure, like you said, Al. I'm not sure our locker room's there yet.
Right.
Yeah, no. They sticking to the good guys syndrome.
Right. It's not there yet. But I believe once the new leaders show themselves, the person that's learning under a Bobby Wagner, that's under Ertz, and they begin to take form, and they begin to have everybody following them and doing what's right, and their core is locked in. I think that's when you don't have to get a choir boy then. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, I think they. I don't. I just think the Ravens took a page out of the Eagles book with some of that, but the Ravens have. I mean, but this draft for they were elite. I told her, I said that was good.
I was sick about that.
Now it's time to put the work in.
How they doing this? It's it's an art. It's an art. The Ravens and the Eagles.
Every year.
Bad. And I'm really upset that Jahad Campbell went to the Eagles. It's like a couple different players, and I'm like, no. But I knew that was gonna happen. I said, watch the Eagles get Jahad Campbell. I was like, I can guess everybody else is right except for the Commanders. Whatever.
All right. Okay, there we go. Candy, again, thank you. We want to say thank you to Chuck for coming in and dropping some knowledge on us with the Kentucky Derby. Special note, I did get a hold of Smoking Joe McKay. We will be on Friday to give us the last minute notes about the Kentucky Derby. So tune in at 7 o'clock my time, 8 o'clock you guys' time. Probably going to be really quick with Joe, about 30-minute show. Just last minute news and notes from the Kentucky Derby so you guys can make sure that your picks hit. Be careful. Have fun. Said, did we cover it all?
Nope.
No?
We ain't covered them prank calling Atlanta Falcons. That's what we did to cover.
We'll finish it next week. It's fine. We'll
get it on Saturday then.
We ain't getting that trashy Cowboys, but we'll finish it next week.
There we go. All right, here we go. Shouts out to my son, United States Air Force, First String Podcast, second to none. Come get some. Tell them, say it.
Go Dogs.
Raise hell.
Prank callers.
It's wartime, baby. This what you signed up for. This what we worked hard for. You for. Y'all the first string. Y'all gotta go set the tone now. Hey, let's go. Lace them up. It's the First String Podcast Show. Hey, let's go. They spitting facts on the First String Podcast Show. Hey, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, let's go. Cause it's time for the First String Podcast Show. Hey, let's go. Lace them up. It's the First String Podcast Show. Hey, let's go. They spitting facts on the First String Podcast Show. Imagine talking sports, having fun with the fam. At a starting lineup, First String is what you have. An entertaining stream with the Pro Bowl cast. When the viewers chime in, they gon' answer what you ask. Representing for the Queens, yeah, we got Lady A. A super knowledgeable woman who can break down any play. Said from the South, so he rep GA. The Falcons, the Bulldogs, the whole Peach State. Drunk Uncle Al, only way you can describe him. Every time he crack the mic, you know he gon' be wildin'. Last but not least, it's my man Toothpick. Commanders is a squad and he the captain of the ship. So if you feel the vibe, go ahead and tune